Hi guys, welcome back to my class. I'm your Korean teacher, Emma. Can you recall what you learned the last time? We covered how to use verbs and adjectives as nouns in our sentence by adding 은, 것, 는, 것, and how to offer a guess about things that happened in the past, present, and future. What do you think? What are some factors that you usually check in advance when you're planning to do something? Personally, something I would definitely check is the weather. And I think many of you might say the same thing. So, through today's weather related episode, let's keep learning about various ways to make guesses. Two postpositional particles, 마다 and 보다, will be covered as well. Before that, let's see what vocabulary we are going to cover throughout the lesson. Repeat after me out loud as a memory aid. 시원하다, 소나기, 밤, 추워지다, 얼음, 미끄럽다, 등산, 길, 막히다, 모자, 쓰다. Now let's get started. The first ending we are going to cover today is 겠다. Here, 겠 is used as a prefinal ending to show that the sentence indicates the speaker's guess about the situation mentioned. If you add 겠 as a prefinal ending, as in the stem 겠어요, then it would be like saying I guess in English. Keeping that in mind, let's watch the following video and see what guesses Adam makes about the weather.
오늘은 날씨가 매우 덥겠어요. 시원한 것이 마시고 싶겠어요. 낮에는 소나기가 내리겠어요. 밤에는 시원한 바람이 불겠어요.
Now, as we've done in the past, please pause the video for a moment and try to say these sentences out loud in Korean, and then replay the video to verify your answers. 오늘은 날씨가 매우 덥겠어요. 시원한 것이 마시고 싶겠어요. 낮에는 소나기가 내리겠어요. 밤에는 시원한 바람이 불겠어요. Good job! For your reference, using this expression 겠어요, you can make guesses about things in any tense, past, present, and future. Can you recall the prefinal ending used to indicate past events? Yes, at, 엇. So if you add at, 엇 before 겠어요, as in 힘들었겠어요, 슬펐겠어요, then it would mean that, oh, it seems like you might have had a hard time or been sad in the past. Alright, now repeat after me. 오늘은 날씨가 매우 덥겠어요. 시원한 것이 마시고 싶겠어요. 낮에는 소나기가 내리겠어요. 밤에는 시원한 바람이 불겠어요. The next ending is also related to expressing a guess. 을 거예요. Aren't you already familiar with this expression? Yes, that's right. You already know this. Up to now, you've used this expression to talk about future plans or events. You also briefly learned in lesson 12 or on page 88 that this 을 거예요 can also be used to indicate the speaker's guess about certain matters. So today, we are going to look at the guessing part of this expression in more depth. First, let's watch a video where this expression is used.
내일 날씨가 추울 거예요. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 올 거예요. 비가 오면 추워질 거예요. 얼음이 얼어서 미끄러울 거예요.
Now let's individually try creating the sentences we heard in the video. 내일 날씨가 추울 거예요. Well, you might be saying to yourself, isn't this about guessing what tomorrow's weather will be like? And if so, can't I just say 내일 날씨가 춥겠어요 using the prefinal ending get I just learned? Yes, you can. Then what's the difference between 겠어요 and 을 거예요? When using 겠어요, the guess being made is usually based on the speaker's personal opinions and thoughts, not necessarily a fact. On the other hand, if you use 을 것이다, then the impression is that the guess is based on a relatively objective opinion, your personal experience, or generally known facts. For example, if Adam said, 히토미 씨가 시원한 것이 마시고 싶겠어요, then she might have made such a guess based on the hot weather and the fact that she herself felt like having a cold drink. Chances are that her assumption was merely based on her own opinion. On the other hand, let's suppose that Hitomi had recently said to Adam something like, "The weather is getting hotter and hotter. I love to have cool drinks in weather like this." Now let's say that Adam and her friends, except for Hitomi, were just arriving at a coffee shop and Lohan wants to order a drink for her in advance since she'll be arriving soon. As he's standing there pondering what type of drink to order for Hitomi, then Adam might say, "히토미 씨가 시원한 것이 마시고 싶을 거예요." This time, her assumption would be based on her recently gained personal knowledge of Hitomi's preferred type of drink in hot weather. That's why this time using 을 거예요 sounds more natural. Let's say, for the sake of practice, in the sentences we'll be practicing with next, all the guesses were made based on Adam's personal experience regarding the weather, so we can use 을 거예요. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 올 거예요. 비가 오면 추워질 거예요. 얼음이 얼어서 미끄러울 거예요. Good job. Now repeat after me out loud. 내일 날씨가 추울 거예요. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 올 거예요. 비가 오면 추워질 거예요. 얼음이 얼어서 미끄러울 거예요. Well, let me tell you some more features related to 을 거예요. Just like 했어요, it can also convey the speaker's guess about events in the past, present, and future. And this one also requires the at final ending in order to talk about the past, as in 어제 히토미 씨가 추웠을 거예요. Some may ask, then how about the 을 것 같아요 I learned last time? Can I add at there as well to indicate a guess regarding past events? The answer is yes. And an example of that would be 어제 히토미 씨가 추웠을 것 같아요. Last time you also learned that 거 is the same as 것, which is usually used in written or formal language, whereas 거 is used in spoken or informal language. So you can use this expression to say in a formal situation, 날씨가 추울 겁니다, or 날씨가 추울 것입니다. One thing you need to be careful of is that when the subject is in the first person like I or we, then 을 거예요 is more often used to convey the subject's future plans. So to make your meaning crystal clear, if you want to express a guess about yourself, please use 을 것 같아요 as in 저는 시원한 것이 마시고 싶을 것 같아요. Now repeat after me out loud. 내일 날씨가 추울 거예요. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 올 거예요. 비가 오면 추워질 거예요. 얼음이 얼어서 미끄러울 거예요. Alright, now let's move on to the next page. Then, how can you ask what another person's guess is? You've already learned that in most cases, you can create an interrogative form simply by adding the rising tone at the end of a declarative sentence, as in, 내일 시원한 것을 마실 거예요? Are you going to drink something cool tomorrow? But when it comes to expressing a guess, you need to use an altogether different ending. 을까요? Because if you use 을 거예요 in an interrogative form, the listener would understand it as a question about the speaker's future plan rather than a question asking about his opinion on the matter. In a nutshell, when you want to know someone else's guess about certain matter, please use the ending 을까요 to ask a question. Now, let's watch a video to see how this can be put to use.
주말에 눈이 올까요? 등산을 가면 추울까요? 얼음이 얼 수도 있을까요? 눈이 많이 오면 길이 막힐까요?
Please pause the video so that you can practice these sentences in Korean and then afterward replay it to check to see if you got them correct. 주말에 눈이 올까요? 등산을 가면 추울까요? For this one, please use the expression 얼 수도 있다. Here, 수 있다 is an ending that indicates the possibility of something. You're going to learn about that in detail later. 도 is like saying to or also in English, which you've already learned. So it would be 얼음이 얼 수도 있을까요? 눈이 많이 오면 길이 막힐까요? Good job. Now repeat after me out loud as a review. 주말에 눈이 올까요? 등산을 가면 추울까요? 얼음이 얼 수도 있을까요? 눈이 많이 오면 길이 막힐까요? So far, you've learned how to express assumptions on certain matter and how to ask the assumptions of others. Now let's learn a new postpositional particle that can be used a lot in your daily lives. It is 마다. It indicates when the subject of the sentence does something or is in some state. It's like saying whenever in English, and it's usually used with the expression 을 때, which means the time when something happens, as in 을 때마다. Now let's watch a video. While watching it, please take a note of how the speakers use this particle 마다. As you'll notice, you're going to be reviewing the particle 보다 as well during this video.
아람이는 바람이 불 때마다 모자를 써요.
카이는 눈이 올 때마다 만두를 만들어요.
히토미는 비보다 눈을 좋아해요. 로하는 추운 것보다 더운 것이 좋아요.
Now, why don't you try saying these sentences in Korean? Please pause the video for a minute so you can do that and then replay it to check your answers. 아람이는 바람이 불 때마다 모자를 써요. 카이는 눈이 올 때마다 만두를 만들어요. 히토미는 비보다 눈을 좋아해요. 로하는 추운 것보다 더운 것이 좋아요. Good job! Then repeat after me out loud for your practice. 아람이는 바람이 불 때마다 모자를 써요. 카이는 눈이 올 때마다 만두를 만들어요. 히토미는 비보다 눈을 좋아해요. 로하는 추운 것보다 더운 것이 좋아요. Now let's go on to page 191 and solve the questions there as a review of what we've learned today. Number 1. Choose the right picture. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 올 거예요. It'll snow a lot this winter, so picture number 3 best describes the sentence. Next, 카이는 눈이 올 때마다 만두를 만들어요. When does Kai make dumplings? 눈이 올 때마다, whenever it snows. In picture number 3, you can see Kai making dumplings and the window behind him is showing us the snowy weather there. So picture number 3 would be the answer. Now question number 2, complete the sentence, choose from the list. Number 1, 등산을 가면. 으면 is like saying in English if someone does something, and 춥다 needs to be used. So the speaker seems to be saying that if somebody goes climbing, she'll feel cold. If that's just his guess and not something based on an objective fact, then he would say 등산을 가면 춥겠어요. If he has experienced a similar situation or heard the weather forecast and then made his assumption based on that information, then he would say 등산을 가면 추울 거예요. One more time. 등산을 가면 춥겠어요. Or 등산을 가면 추울 거예요. Number 2. 얼음이 얼어서. If the speaker has a prior experience of slipping due to the icy road conditions, or if he thinks that based on the objective conditions that exist when it's icy out, it's only natural for him to assume that road conditions will be slippery. He would say, 얼음이 얼어서 미끄러울 거예요. But if his guess is just an opinion, making him think the road will be slippery since it's frozen over with ice, he would say, 얼음이 얼어서 미끄럽겠어요. Number 3. 아람이는 바람이 불 때 모자를 써요. 바람이 불 때 when it's windy. It sounds like Aram wears a hat whenever it's windy. So 마다 would be the answer. 아람이는 바람이 불 때마다 모자를 써요. Number 4. 밤에는 시원한 바람이. If it's just a simple guess on the part of the speaker, he would say 밤에는 시원한 바람이 불겠어요. If the guess is based on an objective fact or the speaker's experience, it would be 밤에는 시원한 바람이 불 거예요. In the sentences in number 5, 6, and 8 as well, both 겠어요 and 을 거예요 can be used as in 눈이 많이 오면 길이 막히겠어요. 눈이 많이 오면 길이 막힐 거예요. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 오겠어요. 이번 겨울은 눈이 많이 올 거예요. 시원한 것이 마시고 싶겠어요. 시원한 것이 마시고 싶을 거예요. Number 7. 히토미는 비, 눈을 좋아해요. 보다 is the only option that can appropriately fill in the blank. 히토미는 비보다 눈을 좋아해요. 히토미 likes snow more than 비. Now, I'm going to give you a brief outline of a dialogue based on a supposed trip planning session with my friend. 강원도는 날씨가 좋을까? 일기예보 봤어? 봤어. 강원도에는 비가 올 거야. 그럼 날씨가 조금 춥겠지? 그럴 것 같아. Now, what about you? What kind of conversation do you think you would have when planning a trip with a friend? Or what types of situations would you need to make educated guesses about? Please pause the video for a moment and think up a dialogue between you and a friend. As usual, please feel free to use a dictionary if needed and don't limit yourself just to words you've already learned. Excellent! I'm so proud of you guys. You did a good job today as usual. Please try to practice creating as many sentences as possible, applying what you learned today. Next time, we'll review the 은, 는, 을 endings again, and some other ending that can make verbs or adjectives function as nouns or even adverbs. I'm so excited because I know that after learning this, you'll be able to create many alternative expressions even when you can't remember specific words right away. You know, your ability to master this particular skill is an indicator of how fluent you are in your target language. So, don't miss the next class. See you then. Bye.